It is now time for Eddie Olczyk, the real expert, going to be on the scene of the running of the Kentucky Derby at Churchill Downs. He's been doing great work for NBC Sports and coverage of the Stanley Cup playoffs so far. Eddie, welcome, my friend. How are you looking at this year's Derby?
Well, Brent, it's always great to be with you. And yes, no better time of year in my small little world. Pucks and ponies. You got playoffs going on. You got the Run for the Roses on Saturday, and just arrived in Kentucky. And as like last year, I seem to be more focused on the weather than the racing form, which I certainly doesn't help out anything because you got to have two plans come Saturday. But everything is great, and everybody looks healthy, ready to go, and we're just hoping for Mother Nature to shine upon us on Saturday, come around 6:30 Eastern.
Well, as you know, Eddie, ExpressBet has been running this great promotion involving you, but also those of us who work for VSiN out here in Las Vegas, and if they use the promo code Brent200 at expressbet.com/Brent, they've got $200 to play with, and they can use it on the Kentucky Derby. So, here at VSiN, what would Eddie Olczyk do with the bonus of $200? Where would he use it? Let's say it's dry. Let's say maybe slightly wet, but not a completely off track, okay? So pretty good going.
Yeah.
We know that the track at Churchill Downs drains very well. Where would Eddie Olczyk put his $200?
Yeah, I think if there's any moisture in the track, if it is off at all, I find it very difficult for anybody to take down Omaha Beach, Brent. He is the favorite, and I compare Omaha Beach to Exaggerator of a couple of years ago, where people may remember Exaggerator moving way up on an off track. Like I'm saying, 5 lengths, 10 lengths better on an off track. And I think Omaha Beach is very similar. If there is the moisture in the track, Omaha Beach is going to get my money in a lot of gimmicks. For the record, I got Roadster back in February at 30-1 to win the Derby. I got Roadster at 16-1 in March. He'll probably end up going off at 7-ish, 8-1. I'm probably not going to bet him to win if it's a fast track, but he certainly will get a lot of my money when it comes to the gimmicks. So when it comes to the win bet, Brent, and I know I'm hedging here, but as you know, being a horse player and handicappers out there, the track dictates a lot of decisions that are made. And, I don't know if Roadster can get up and down on a wet surface, but I know Omaha Beach can. And that's kind of how I'm looking at it. And I know we're hours and hours away from the 145th running of the Kentucky Derby. But I think for right now, that's kind of how I'm planning it. And you got to be quick on your feet in case, it goes one way or the other.
Eddie, Vinny, great to be with you and getting your perspectives.
Hey, Vinny.
I love your point about comparing Omaha Beach to Exaggerator because of that versatility, and I agree with you, particularly with the weather factor. Eddie, talk a little bit about your approach with a race of this magnitude, 20 horses, unlike any other race in terms of the setting and the distance, all the variables that come into play here. Do you start by eliminating horses before you start saying, this is who I'm going to go with?
I think I do get to that process fairly quickly, Vinny, and it's a great question. I try to look at, the pace of the race, like going 1.25 miles, and the majority of those horses will never go 1.25 miles again. It's well documented. And it's the first time they've ever gone this distance. Mm-hmm. So I look at it, okay, where is the pace going to be coming from? I'm in the belief is I think there's a little bit more pace in this race than I think a lot of people are leading on, or at least their opinion. Isn't it? Everybody's got an opinion, and that is fine. I think there's a little bit more pace. I think with War of Will, the one horse drawing the rail, obviously, it's going to force that horse, Mark Cassie's horse, to come out of the one hole, get position. So I think early you got a chance at a reasonable pace. Maximum Security should be right there. Omaha Beach is not going to be too far off of the pace. If you've seen Roadster's last work out of the gate, it looked like he was slingshotted out of the gate and it looked like he had 5 lengths on his workmate there. And I know it's only a work and it's training in the morning, but he's got some natural speed. So I think there's more speed in this race. He got Tax on the inside as well. He doesn't want to get buried down there. Long Range Toddy is another horse that is breaking out of post position 18, but there's another horse. So, do the jockeys sit there and go, we're going to let Maximum Security and War of Will go, and then Omaha Beach is going to sit right behind? I don't see that happening. I really don't. I really don't. Again, if it ends up being an off track, then like I said, all bets are off, and then you got to figure out where you think that the speed is going to come from on an off track, which is totally different than a fast track. So, and then I get to that part of it, Vinny, where I start looking at it and going, nah, you know what? I can't use this horse. I can't use this horse. Yeah, maybe. I can't. No, definitely a throw out. And then all of a sudden, now you're at about 12 horses. And I honestly believe is that all things being equal, I think I could make a case probably for 7 or 8 horses on a fast track. As I said earlier to Brent, Vinny, if it's an off track, I don't think they could beat Omaha Beach on an off track. I really don't. And what's he going to go off at? Is he going to be 9-2? Is he going to be 7-2 if it ends up coming up sloppy? I mean, there's nothing wrong with putting that $200 Brent was offering up on the nose of Omaha Beach at 7-2 or 9-2 and walk out of there with $940 or $1,100. So, but that's kind of the process of elimination that I like to go at. And as you know, Vinny, sometimes you can handicap and you can hit it right out of the park. I was lucky enough to do that last year where I liked Good Magic to beat Justify and Audible to finish third. And I went with the value at 9-1, and Justify, we know, won, and it came in 7 good, Justify, Good Magic, and Audible. And the trifecta for $2 paid $280, which, $140 for $1. The Exacta paid just under $40. There's some pretty good value there if you can find it. And yeah, it's a 20-horse field.
Hey, Eddie, Johnny Avello, how are you?
Yeah. Hey, Johnny, how are you, man? Nice to talk to you.
You too. It's been a while. I've been betting the Derby a long time, and I know you have. And I always look for a price in the Derby. And over the last 6 years or so, it's been all favorites. And, I ran a future book for many years and actually got destroyed on most of those years because, the horses that in September that I had in my future book, half of them were getting to the Derby, which was very unusual. So the way that these favorites have been winning, do you think it changes the bettor's mindset, to see all these favorites and now instead of looking for a 12 or 20-1 horse, we're more concentrating on the favorites now? And why are the favorites? Why is this happening? Do you have a reason for that?
Yeah, no, a couple of great questions, Johnny. I think first off with the favorites, I think it goes in cycles. I really do. And when you look at the horses that have won here recently, we've had 2 Triple Crown winners, enough said. You get a horse like California Chrome. So I just think that, the best horses have been able to arrive Derby week and run to what they've been able to accomplish up until that point. It goes in cycles. I think it's like anything else, whether it's favorites in footballs on Sunday or, favorites in hockey or road teams come playoff time in hockey. Sometimes it just goes like that. And, I think as far as the futures aspect of it and people looking at it and then, betting the favorite, there's no doubt. People gravitate to favorites and they gravitate to names. And Bob Baffert's got 3 horses, and all 3 of his horses are going to take money. They're all going to take money, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them all be the same, around the same odds, 6-7-1, and probable game winner, and of course Roadster. But you guys know this. Last year I think they bet just over $68 million in the win play show pool. 38 million of it was in the win pool. People do gravitate to favorites, but you also have that other money where you have people that watch horse racing one time for 2 hours on a Saturday, the first Saturday in May, And there's a lot of that money, I don't know what the proper terminology to use is, but you got a lot of inexperienced money coming into the pool. And a lot of it is, going to my boy Jack or long range Toddy or, for the guys, the big handicappers, they don't mind that at all. I've had a friend tell me he's been telling me this for the last 25 years, and I've seen his tickets, and he finds that the best day to be a show player, and I'm not a show player. I do jump in every once in a while when I see bridge jumpers, but he says Derby Day is the best day if you like somebody to go ahead, and that's when you take your shot on going into the show pool. And you look at the show prices over the course of the last 10 years, you'd be shocked at what some of these horses have paid to show. And look, somebody's going to bet 1,000 or 10,000, or somebody that's really into it and bet 25 or 50,000. What's wrong with turning that money into what's wrong with turning 25,000 into 53,000 or 55,000? All you need for is the horse to hit the board. So I think there's a lot there, but I do think that the average handicapper, the average horse player, will gravitate more towards the favorite. And then you have all that, that inexperienced money that comes in that bets names and bets numbers and bets jockeys and bets stories. And that's why you get some 38 million, 39 million into the win pool. And somebody that goes in there and bets 10,000 to win like Brent does, it's not going to affect the odds, right? That's not going to happen.
Yes. And of course, if Omaha Beach buries my 10 grand, my friend, Eddie,